So today we'll be discussing about Minitab software. Minitab is a statistical software which is used to analyze relation between variables, and also it is used to enhance the visualization of graphs. So Minitab is a paid software. You can get a free version of Minitab. You can use it for 30 days. After that you have to pay for it. However, there are cracked versions available on the internet. So to download Minitab, just go to Google, type in Minitab, and you can click on this free trial download, and you can start your 30-day free trial with this. So the latest version is 19, I think it's 19, and the one which I'm using is a 17. There is not much difference between 17 and 19. All the user interface to input the data and get the graphs out of it are all similar. So to plot a graph with simple connected lines, for example, let's go to IEEE and let's search for a paper based on WSN. And search for journal articles. If we take this paper, which is an IEEE access, so if we look at figures, uh, let's say graphs. So if you look at this particular graph, you can see that the x and y axis are clearly visible. However, the line charts, the connected lines, they are not clearly visible. For example, there is a line here and there is another line graph here. Similarly, there is one here and there is another one here. And if you come down, you can see that different graphs, they don't show the lines very accurately. Now this is an IEEE access. Now if you take some other journal, let's say a transaction paper, this is a transaction paper. Now if you look at the graphs in a transaction paper, you can see that the lines, the legends, they will all be clearly visible. As you can see here, I've not zoomed in. It is at, I think it is at 80% scaling, 116% scaling. Okay. So if I bring it to 110, 100%, you can still see the text clearly. You can still make out of what is being present, and also the lines are also, the line graphs which is present inside, they are also clearly visible, and so are the legends. Now, in order for us to publish our papers in reputed journals such as this, we have to improve the quality of our graphs which are being put on the paper. So, our today's session will concentrate only about enhancing the graph so that it becomes clearly visible. So, to do that, we go to Minitab, and and to make a graph, to make a simple graph, let's say we have a graph between amplitude and time. So you just enter the amplitude value here. Note that there is no number which is present above number 1. This is an empty cell. So this cell, this row cell, is used to input the parameters. So first I've typed in amplitude, and then the next column I've typed in time. So let's say I type in the amplitude 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and then 55 and 72. And similarly for time, or let's say time, we can give in brackets, we can give in like minutes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So the value entering is similar to your Excel sheet where you double click on the text box and then you just type in the values. So now to plot a graph, I just click on graph on the top menu, then go to scatter plot, and that will show you a window. And in this particular scatter plot, you can select the different types of graphs. First, I will show you the simple graph, then followed by each graphs one by one. So in simple graph, just double click on the single graph. When you click on the simple graph, you will be prompted with a window asking for which is the y variable and which is the x variable. So in my y variable, I'm going to give it as amplitude. So you don't necessarily give the amplitude here. What you can do is you can just select the cell and then go to your left and then double click on the variable that you need to be entered here. So I just double click on amplitude C1 and that is automatically entered here. Similarly for x variable, you can see that the cursor is there at x variable 1, and just gonna double click on C2 time bracket minutes. So that will be automatically entered there. So once you have entered the variables, just click on OK, and then you will have a graph. This is our initial graph. So let's see how this graph is transformed. So for any journal, when you apply the general uh, instruction to authors is to produce figures such that they are clearly visible at 100 scale. Now this is my word document set at 100 scale, and mostly we'll be submitting our articles in double column format. So let me just change this to double column and then 2. Now this will be, this word document is now set into double column. I go to Minitab, I put this in full screen, and then I'll just snip this particular figure. I'll just snip this, and then I'll just paste it here in the Word document. Now, if you look at this, the amplitude values and the time values are not clearly visible at first sight. However, if you focus on it, you may be somewhat able to figure out what the values are. Now the reviewers who review papers, they are mostly in the age above 35, minimum age of 35 and above, and a maximum age of like let's say 60 or 65, because the time at which people complete their PhD and they become reviewers is around that age. So most people who work with computers, they cannot see properly without their spectacles on. And in order for you to impress your reviewer at the first sight, you have to improve your scales so that they are clearly visible, and not to force your reviewers to look in deep into the paper. So we're just going to improve the scales now. So I just go to Minitab, and now pay close attention. Now this is the scale that I want to improve. This is the scale that I want to improve the size of. Now I just simply click on the Y scale. So here when I place the cursor, it says that it is the Y scale. Note that there are no selected boxes that appear on the axis of Y. So when I click on it, you can see that you have boxes at each elements of Y. Once you have selected the scale, double click on the scale to bring up this window. In this window, select font, and here you can select the size. So I'm just going to type in font size 13, and I'm going to select the style as bold, and here you can select the font of the text. You can select any font that you require here, and then click on OK. So once you do that, you can see that the size of the y-axis is automatically increased. Now to do that in the x-axis, similarly do the same. Click on the x-axis. Now the x scale is completely selected. Double click on the x scale, go to font, select the size, hit on bold, then click on OK, and automatically you will have the font size set. Now if you want the size of the legends, that is the y scale legend and x scale legend, to be increased, you just have to simply double click, select it first. Once when you click it, it will be selected, then double click it, and similarly you can select the size here as well. So let me just give it a different font. So I'm going to select Shruti, and then I click on OK. Now this is the Shruti font with font 16. And then similarly for time minutes, I just double click on it, set the font size, set the font style, click on OK, and automatically the font size is now selected. So now to understand whether the x and y values that we have set for this particular Word document is okay, I'm going to snip it, I'm going to paste it here. So this is our second graph. So when we see this graph, we can clearly say what the y values are and what the x values are. You don't have to look in deep. And maybe if your legends are a little bit confusing, like amplitude, you can improve the size as well. So I'm just going to increase the size of that particular amplitude. So double click on it, and then I'm going to give it 22, click on OK. Similarly for time, set it 22, click on OK. And maybe for the scale, that is the X scale, I'm going to set the font to 16. Y scale, I'm going to set the font to 16, click on OK. So I'm going to snip it now, and then post it again. So now the x values, y values, x table and the y labels are all clearly visible. However, there is a gray outline box which is a little not in adjustment with the Word document. Whereas if you look at the graphs in IEEE papers, you can see that they will be completely, the background will be completely white. There will be no crosshairs, it will be completely white. So we're going to try to convert this particular graph to the one which is available in IEEE. So to select the background color, just click anywhere on the gray area, select it. When you select it, you will see that you will have small boxes, select boxes, which will be popping up around this area. Once done, double click on it, go to fill pattern, select custom, and then select background color and give it white, and then click on OK. So now we have a white background for the graph. Similarly, if you want to make any changes to this particular title, just select the title and then double click on it. And here, this is the text for the title. Here you can type in the text that you want for your graph and click on OK, and then the title is automatically changed. Similarly, for the data points are very small. As you see here, the data points are clearly visible. The line size is lower and the data point size is higher. And similarly, if you look at our previous graph that we have pasted, the x values and the y value size are larger, whereas the data point size are very small. So we're going to improve the size of the data points. To improve the size of the data points, first simply click on any one data point. Once you click on it, all the data points will be selected. Upon selection, double click on it, select custom, and set the size to 3. And here you can select any desired color of your choice, or else you can leave it to default. And in type, you can select any type of data point to be displayed. So I'm gonna select the crosshair. Once that is selected, click on OK, and that will show you the increased data point size. So if you feel that even this is not clearly visible, you can always double click, go back to type. I'm gonna set a solid type. I'm gonna select the circle, click on OK, and then you will have the data points with increased size. Once done, simply snip it, go to your Word document, and then you can paste it. So you have a small border on your left, that is because I have not clearly snipped it from the Minitab. So I'm gonna adjust that. So I'm gonna bring in the amplitude closer, open the snipping tool again, and then I'm gonna snip it. Once done, paste it. So as you can see, now this is the previous graph, this is the previous graph, and this is the newly snipped graph. So when you see the newly snipped graph, you can see that it is similar to what is available in the IEEE papers. So it has a simple uh, white background with enhanced text in blocks and with connected lines and enhanced size of data points. So we converted a graph which looked like this into one which is similar to the one in IEEE. So this is one type of graph. And the next type of graph is by connecting the graph with lines. Now, once you have plotted a graph, you can always save this as a project. You can save it like click on File and go to Save Project. So once when you save the project, let's say I'm going to save it in desktop and let's create a new folder, type in class, and then save it there. Once you save this as a project file, you can see that the status of saving that is shown here. You can always close this Word document, your Minitab. You can go to class folder. You can open this project file, and that project file will show you the data that you entered in your worksheet plus the edited graph file. So here you have the edited graph file, and here you have the entered data. So this will be saved. These all will be saved as a single file. Now you can always plot multiple graphs with the same data. So I'm just going to leave the graph as such. I'm going to go to graphs again, select scatter plot, and then this time I'm going to connect it with connect line. I just selected, and similarly here you have to enter the y variable and the x variable. So the y variable is amplitude, x variable is time. Click on OK, and that will show you the graph. Now the previous graph will be minimized here. If you click on it, you can always view it. However, if the version changes, you can always see that they will not be available. So in this version, it is available. So we're going to convert this graph into the one which looks like this on our right. So we're going to repeat the same process again. So double click on background color, go to custom, and then set background color to white. Click on OK. Similarly, select the Y variable, double click on the X variable, go to font, select the font size to 18, select the font type to Shruti, click on OK, and I'm going to set that style to bold and then click on OK. Similarly, double click on the Y, go to font size 18, style bold, font type Shruti, click on OK. And similarly for the X and Y values, that is labels. Double click on them, increase the font size to 22, set it to bold, click on OK. Y label, double click on it, set the size to 22, put it to bold, and then click on OK. Now once you have done that, you can edit the title by selecting the title, double click on it, and then enter the values. Enter any text that you want. Amplitude versus time. So once you have changed the text, double click on it, select the font of your size, font style, click on OK. Once that is done, we're gonna have to improve the data point size. So select the data points. As you can see here, only the data point is now selected. Double click on it, go to custom, set the color to size to 3. And then I'm going to change the color of the data points to, let's say, a more darker color, that is red. Then click on OK. So now we have changed the size of the data points. However, the line of the data points, the line connecting the data points are very small. So just simply select the connect line. Once you select the connect line, you can see that the selection box come up. Double click on it again, click on custom, set the size to, let's say, 3, set the color, I'm going to leave it a default color, and then click on OK. Now you can see that the size of the line is also increased. And you can copy paste this graph. Either you can use the snipping tool, or you can just simply right click on the graph, select copy graph, and then you can paste it in your Word document. However, when you use the copy graph option, you will see that it will be present inside a box. Now if you want to avoid that box, you can go to Minitab, put the graph in full screen, take out your snipping tool, and then snip the parts that you need. So now this is your snipped graph. Now as you can see, the Word document is now set at 100% zoom, and I can easily make out all the x and y variable values, the scales, and the title, then the data points and the data line as well. They will be clear. And one more point is, when you select a graph, when you click on a graph, you will be automatically be selecting the graph. As you can see here, if you pay close attention, you can see that there is a small box here, selection box. You can see that the line are discontinuous. Okay, so while snipping, make sure that you have not clicked on the graph and you have clicked somewhere else. So this is, now I'm clicking on the graph. You can see that there are small discontinuities in the line here, and then on the four edges, then on the top, and then the bottom as well. So when you snip a graph, you will be snipping a graph with discontinuous edges. So this is the graph with discontinuities. You can see that there is no line here, 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 then here. So when you paste this particular graph, the same will be repeated there as well. For example, let's say, let me erase this. So if you look at the image from a distance also, you can still make out that there are discontinuities in the line. So if at all, after acceptance, the journal may ask you to produce figures which are legible. So at that point, you may have to take the snapshots of the images again, of these graphs again. So better to take it good at the initial stage itself. So this is the graph with connected lines. Then there is another, that is the graph with groups, connected line with groups. Now this is the graph with connected line with groups. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 variables. 7 variables. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight variables. Eight variables are present in this particular graph. Let's see how to do these types of graphs. So go to Minitab again. So I'm going to close this particular figure. Now when you close the figure, you will be prompted with an option to whether do you want to save this particular figure or not. So if you want to save this figure, just click on yes. Just go to desktop, go to class, and then I'm going to save it. Note that the file name is scatter of amplitude versus time. So initially I saved a project, and now what I did was I just, when I tried to close the figure, it asked me whether I wanted to save this particular figure. Now if you see the logo, you can see that now this is the project file and then this is the plot file. So the project file will show you that it has graph and as well as the worksheet values, whereas the graph file will only consist of the graph. It won't have the data values entered. So this is the difference between the project file icon and the graph file icon. So I'm going to close this Minitab project. Now I'm going to save it. So now when I double click on the recently saved graph file, when you open it, you will have only the graph. You won't have any values present in the worksheet. So better to save this file as a project file. So now this is the project file. So when I double click on it, you can see that it will have both the graph and as well as the data values. So here we have the data values and then here we have the graph as well. So we're going to now plot a graph with different groups. So let's say that this is time and then this is a variable std1 and then this will be another variable std2. So here I will just type in the values 70, 65. So once you've done that, click on graph, go to scatter plot, and then click on with connect and group. Now here you will have an option to select the x variable, y variable. So my x variable is going to be the same. It's going to be time, whereas my y variable, they are going to change. So I'm going to select the first y variable as std1, and then I'm going to select the x variable as time. Then I'm going to select the second y variable as std2, then the second x variable as time. Once that is selected, if you click on OK, you will get two graphs. That is, this is the graph for std1 and then time, and then the second will be the graph for std2 and then time. Now if you want to overlap these two graphs on a single graph, and there is an option. The option is under graphs. So graphs, scatter plot with connect and groups. So after you have entered the x and y variables, here you will have an option called as multiple graphs. Click on it, and here you can select overlaid on the same graph. So that will superimpose both the graphs on a single image. So once done, click on OK, click on OK again. Now you will have both the graph on the same graph, both the data sets plotted on the same graph. So here you have the variable box as well, which describes what does each data points or each type of data points represent. So we're going to edit this image again, like we did previously. So I'm going to select the X scale, go to font, set it 20, give it bold. You want to set the font size to, let's say, Times New Roman. You can also search for the font size. And then I'm going to select the Y scale, go to font, select the font size, give it in bold, and then give it the font as Times New Roman, click on OK, then select the X label, set it to 20, click on OK, select the Y label, set it to 20, click on OK. I'm just going to bring it closer. Now you can always note that. So initially I have given the Y label values as std1 and std2. However, when I have plotted, you get the values std1 and std2 here. Whereas in Y label in graph next to the scale, you see that it is shown only as Y data. Now, if you have a more generic name for std1 and std2, you can just edit it here itself. Double click on Y data, and here you will have the text for Y data. So you can edit it here. Let's say that these are marks of different students, and then click on OK. So since this is a lengthy one, I'll just make it short. Marks of students. Hit on OK, and then here you will have the you can change the label Y label. So change the Y label. After changing it, I need to change the font style. Times New Roman. Click on OK. And similarly for X label, I'm going to set it to Times New Roman. Click on OK. Once that is done, click on the double click on the outer region. Click on custom. Select the fill pattern to white. Click on OK. And then if you want to edit the title, you can give it a title, or else if you feel that a title is not necessary, you can select a title, hit on delete, and that will be deleted completely. And if you want the variable, you can move it to any part of the graph. So I'm going to place a variable uh, inside the graph. So once done, after that, we're going to increase the size of the data points. So once when I select the blue data point, you can see that both the red data point and the blue data points are selected. Double click on it. Once it is done, set the size to 3, and then click on OK. Now you can see that the blue line is connected by a straight line, whereas the red line is connected by dashed lines. So to change this pattern of lines, what you can do is you can just select the line. As you can see, once I select a single line, you can see that both the lines are selected, both the red as well as blue lines are selected. Once done, double click on the line, hit on custom, select it under type, give it straight line, set the size to 3, hit on OK. You can now see that both the lines are straight lines, straight connected lines. Once done, go to snipping tool, select the image that is required, go to your Word document, and then you can paste it there. So as you can see here, all are clearly visible except the variable, that is the variable std1 and std2. So we're going to go back to our Minitab. So we're going to edit this legend. So as you can see, just simply click on them. Once you click on the box, the variable box is selected. Just click on the legend, that is the std1. Just double click on it once selected. Here you can give it a different name. However, there is an option to edit the size as well. So just select the variable. Okay. So if you want to increase the size of the variable, just select the variable box. Once done, double click on it. Go to body font. Here you can change the font size. So I'm going to say give it 14. Let's say 14. Bold. Hit on OK. Now you can see that the font size of the text is much larger. So okay, so make sure to adjust your box such that it doesn't overlap with any of the lines. Okay, so this is the std1, std2. If you want to remove anything, if say that you don't want the name of the name variable to be present, you can delete it. Just hit on delete, it will go away. Or if you want to give it a name, just select the variable, double click on it, that will give you the edit text box, and here you can type in the text. So I'm going to type in values and then click on OK. So if you want to increase the size of the value again, select the box, double click on the box, go to header font. Know that we previously went to body font, now we are going to header font, set it 12, hit on OK. You can see that the size of the values has increased. So I'm just going to move the box to the right so that it is not clearly visible inside. Or let's say if we can place it somewhere where it doesn't overlap with any of it. Okay, so this seem like a nice place. Okay, so once you have left it there, click on snipping tool and snip the area that is required, and then you can paste it to your Word document. So now all the x values, y values, the data points, data lines, and the legend text are all clearly visible. So we just took a graph which looked like this, enhanced it, and we are showing it like this. This is graph with connected lines. Mostly you will be using graph with connected lines because you will be always be comparing your values with that of the existing values. So if you want to update this graph, or if you want to add any new variables, you can just simply select here and then type in the variable name followed by the values. Let's say 20, 25, 32, 28, 45, 52, 40, 32, 65, 79. So once you've done that, you can just simply go to graph, scatter plot with connect and group, and here you will already have two variables entered. Just enter in the third variable, click on OK. Again, you will have a graph coming up. So again, you have to redo this same polishing. You will have to redo the you will have to select each elements, and then you will have to upgrade each and every single one of them. So that will show you an enhanced graph. So this is graph with connected lines. And then there is another graph which is mostly used by in statistics, that is regression. So to get the regression, just select graph scatter plot, and in this scatter plot window, just select with regression, and then select the variables that is required. Let's say std1 time, std2, and then time, multiple graphs overlaid on the same graph. Okay, and then okay. So here it will show you the two lines for two different data points. So just place the cursor on any one of the line to get its equation. So here the regression equation is 10.27 plus 6.988 time of minutes. Here the regression is 82.87 minus 5.758 time into minutes. So this is the regression equation. This is how you get. This is how you plot a regression. And after that, you'll have different types of graphs. Let's say the mostly used is connected lines and bar graph. So I'll show you how to do the bar graph. So once you select the bar graph, you will have count of unique values. So you will have two options. One is you can select from this drop down menu, and then you will have to select the type of bar graph that you require. So select the counts of unique values and then hit on select, simple. Then you're gonna have to give in the categorical value. So here the categorical value is std1 and std2. Click on OK. So you'll have the graphs plotted in two different boxes. So you will have to select the option overlaid on the same graph. So I'm just gonna keep it simple. And here in multiple graphs, select same y, click on OK, and then click on OK. Okay. Category variables, multiple graphs, same y. Okay. uh, Chart for std1, chart for std2. Okay, so for bar graph it's a different approach. Let me try it once. Let's say a delete all the values. A 25, 30, 40, b 15, 25, 42. Graph, bar graph, simple. C1, click on OK. Hmm. 1 minute. So here in bar graph, there is a way to get the count of unique values. And let me just go back to the previous data set. Graph variables std2, std1. Categorical variables with time std2, std1. Click on OK. Okay, so it is function of a variable. Okay, let me do it again. So to get a bar graph, go to graph, select bar chart, and then function of a variable. Select function of a variable, then click on simple, and then once you click on simple, you don't have to necessarily worry about the function. Just click on graph variables and then select any two graph variables, and under categorical variables select the time, which is common for both the values. And then in multiple graphs, in separate planes or the in separate planes of the same graph, or you can select same scales for graph. So once you've selected it, click on OK and then click on OK. And here you will have the bar graph plotted between two variables with respect to the mean values. So this is one type. And for you to plot the graph next to each other, you just have to click on graph, bar chart, function of a variable, select cluster, and then in graph variable select std1, std2, in categorical variable select time, and then multiple graph. Multiple graph, it's not coming. Values from a table. Cluster, graph variable, categorical variable, multiple graphs in separate planes of the same graph, then click on OK. Okay. Values from a table, cluster. Cluster also gives you the same. Bar chart. Categorical variable values. Okay, categorical. Star cluster. And then cluster. In cluster we can given std1, std2, categorical will be time, multiple graphs. Okay, there is another option which will show both the graphs next to each other. I think I'll show it to you in the next class. Okay, so that's it for today's class. We'll see you again in the next class.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.